I cared for her for 5 years, but my mother's sobs could be heard from the audience as tears welled up in my husband's eyes. He's done nothing for all this time, yet he plays the good son so well. I'm the only one who knows the truth. You better realize this, John. I started, playing the audio evidence that would reveal my husband's true nature. My name is Sarah. I've been married to John for 7 years now. Currently, we live as a family of 3 with my bedridden mother-in-law. 5 years ago, her illness forced her into a bedridden lifestyle. My father-in-law had passed away before I got married, so there was no one else to care for her. At the time, John's work wasn't going well, and we were struggling to make ends meet. So he asked if we could live together with his mother, and she agreed. Feeling guilty about relying on her, I decided to take care of her while also working a part-time job. My mother-in-law seemed to feel guilty about being cared for. I continued, recounting how she often tried to reassure me. Sarah, that's enough. Please don't worry about me. I always encouraged her with a strong will, I recalled. When she said this with a troubled smile, I replied, what are you talking about? I'm indebted to you, mother-in-law. But it must be hard with both work and housework, plus taking care of me. I don't want to burden you anymore, Sarah, she insisted. It's not a burden at all. I want to be with you. That's why I'm doing this on my own accord. I reassured her. But you should have your own happiness. Being able to talk to you every day like this is my happiness, so don't worry about it. Tears welled up in mother-in-law's eyes as she whispered a small thank you. There's not much that I can do, yet she always expresses her gratitude like this. Ever since we got married, my mother-in-law has been very kind to me, so taking care of her is not a burden at all. In fact, it feels like my mission. While I do enjoy caring for her, there's one thing I'm not satisfied with in my current life. My husband, John. He's what you'd call a traditional type who thinks housework is a woman's job. He wasn't that bad when we got married, but since we started living with his parents, he's become increasingly selfish. He doesn't contribute much to the household expenses, but his entitlement is as high as Everest. For instance, when he comes home, he starts yelling if I don't greet him at the door. Hey Sarah, I'm home. Why aren't you greeting me? Hurry up, get my stuff. I frowned at my husband and voiced my complaints. Listen, John, I've told you before, I'm not your servant. You should do what you can on your own. Huh? What are you saying? Who do you think is making the money for this family? Yes, it's true that you're providing for us, but I'm also doing my part. I'm working part-time. Despite that, you speak to me like this. Shut up. Your earnings are just peanuts. You can't survive without me, so don't you dare defy me. And you? You can't even contribute properly to the living expenses. The only reason we can live in this house is undoubtedly thanks to your mother. At first, I would fight back, but my husband started threatening divorce every time we quarreled. Watch yourself, Sarah. Keep this up and we'll get a divorce, got it? Please, not so loud. Your mother is in the other room. Shut it. It's all because you're so insolent. Understand this. You'd be the one in trouble if we divorced. Do you get that? Just lower your voice and don't always talk about divorce like that. Yeah, right. You would have nowhere to go if we got divorced. Besides, there's no company out there willing to hire a scrub like you full-time, Sarah. Stop talking like that. Just shut up and listen to what I'm saying. You idiot. You're so slow. Honestly, I was more than ready to divorce my husband, but when I thought of my mother-in-law, I couldn't bring myself to go through with it. You can always talk to me if you're troubled, Sarah. You're my precious daughter, my mother-in-law would reassure me. She was always very kind to me, as if we were truly mother and daughter. Because of her, I wanted to take care of her properly until the end. I wanted to repay her for all the kindness she had shown me. That's why I endured the painful days with my husband in this house. I couldn't entrust my mother-in-law's care to a man like him. Then one day, as I was preparing dinner, I heard the usual shouting from the entrance. Hey Sarah, I'm home. Come out and greet me. I'm using the stove right now and can't leave it. What, are you kidding me? What kind of wife doesn't prioritize her husband? My husband, who had lost his patience, stormed into the living room. Hey, what are you thinking? I always tell you to greet me when I come home. Why don't you understand? As you can see, I was just frying something. I don't care. You should have timed it to be finished when I come home. You're useless. Well, you never tell me when you'll be home. I told you not to talk back. A useless and insolent wife is nothing but garbage. My mother-in-law, who had come out upon hearing the harsh words, spoke in a stern voice. John, that is no way to talk, is it? Oh, Mom, you're still alive. Sarah is working hard every day for this household for both of you and me. That's what a wife is supposed to do, right? She earns a little, is half-baked in housekeeping. She's basically social trash. Enough is enough. My usually quiet mother-in-law raised her voice on the spot. You wouldn't say what you want about me. Don't you dare slander Sarah. What, Mom? Are you on Sarah's side too? You two are colluding, huh? My mother-in-law, who usually remains silent, continued to speak. This time, John, one request. Ha! What is it? Just put me in a nursing home. I don't want to be a burden on Sarah anymore. Ha! A nursing home. Where do you think we have that kind of money? We still have your father's inheritance and my pension. I don't need a fancy place. At my mother-in-law's unexpected remark, I was at a loss for words. Mother-in-law, have you been considering this? Thinking about me? Tears welled up in my eyes at the thought of her kindness. However, it was completely lost on my husband. At the suggestion, he made a deeply disgusted face. Don't joke around. There's no way we're putting you in a nursing home. That's a waste of money. Please don't say that. Life would be easier in this house if I wasn't here. If we put you in a facility, the neighbors and my colleagues will start gossiping that I'm an ungrateful son, won't they? You don't need to worry about what people think. I still want to be a burden to you. Then shut up and do as you're told, old woman. I'm taking care of you, isn't that enough? John, you don't do anything. Huh? I let you live in this house and I make Sarah work too. Isn't that enough for you, ungrateful woman? Unable to bear my husband's words, I raised my voice. Are you talking about who's the ungrateful one here? This house originally belonged to your mother, didn't it? Ah, are you talking back to me again? But that's true, isn't it? 5 years ago, when you were fired, we were in trouble, and didn't your mother-in-law gladly take us in? How can you say that? Ah, shut up, both of you. And I'm not doing this reluctantly. I'm taking care of mother-in-law out of my own will. Stop making unilateral decisions. Despite my desperate plea, my husband just said, "That's true. Troublesome," and left the room. In the awkward silence, my mother-in-law kept apologizing and crying. It's not your fault, mother-in-law. The one at fault is John. Every day, I was frustrated by a reality that I could not control. A few days later, while I was cleaning the house, a man who claimed to be an acquaintance of my mother-in-law's came to visit. Mother-in-law looked surprised, but she wore a full smile. Oh, is that you, Jackson? You came to visit. Well, if I was asked to visit my senior Linda, I couldn't refuse, could I? I remember treating you a lot at work when we were younger, right? Yes, I'm grateful. So what's your will? Why did you call me today? Ah, yes, actually, looking at me, mother-in-law said, sorry, could you step out for a bit? Assuming they had a lot to catch up on, I happily agreed, saying, sure, and went out to buy some sweets. This man Jackson apparently was a junior when mother-in-law was working. It had been a while since I saw mother-in-law looking so happy. When I thought it was time to come back, Jackson was just about to leave. Oh, excuse me, I'm about to make tea. No, that's fine. We finished our conversation, but thank you for always taking care of Linda. She's a benefactor to me, so it's reassuring to know that she has a daughter like you. He bowed his head to me and left. Since then, Jackson has been regularly visiting mother-in-law, and they always have a lively conversation. It was a few months later that my mother-in-law's condition worsened, and she had to be rushed to the hospital. When I urgently called my husband, he responded with disbelief. My mom's in danger. As if I care. You're there, you can handle it. But the doctor said her condition's unpredictable. Please, I need you. Ah, no way. Plus, I'm leaving for a business trip today. What now? Of all times, please try to cancel it. Are you stupid? There's no way I can do that. Handle it on your own and don't call me until I reach out first. With that, he hung up abruptly. Not knowing what to do, I slumped down in front of my mother-in-law's hospital room. He's going on a business trip while his mother is in this state? This is just too cruel. How am I supposed to tell my mother-in-law? Just as I was sinking into despair, Jackson appeared. Oh, Sarah, what's wrong? Ah, Jackson. Something happened, right? Let's go to your mother-in-law's room for now. Okay. When we entered the room, my mother-in-law looked at us and struggled to speak. Jackson, you're here. So, does that mean you did what I asked? Yeah, but are you sure about this? Of course, I have to clear things up before I go, don't I? I understand. Then my mother-in-law weakly took my hand. Sarah, there's something I want you to know. What is it? My son has been withdrawing money from my account for his pension and spending it on his mistress. An affair? He's a man who treated me like a maid. I had some idea from the start, but to think he was even taking money from his mother's pension. I asked Jackson to investigate the matter. I see, so that's why my mother-in-law called Jackson to the house. Jackson, please record what I'm about to say. It will be my last will. Understood, Linda. Jackson slowly took out a voice recorder. Once he finished recording everything, he placed it in my hand. How you use this recording is up to you, Sarah. Up to me? Yes, I'm the only one who can avenge my mother-in-law. I squeezed her frail hand back with strength. The next day, my mother-in-law passed away, leaving her final revenge in my hands. On the day of the funeral, 2 days later, my mother-in-law, who had always been popular, drew a large crowd. Seeing this, my husband made an inappropriate comment. Wow, I didn't expect so many people to come. It's a great opportunity to show off my skills as chief mourner. What are you talking about? You weren't even there when she died. Ignoring my reproach, he continued casually, I'll make everyone cry with my touching eulogy. My bosses from work are here too. If they're moved by how filial I am, it could boost my reputation and lead to a promotion. Just kidding. How can you act like this when your mother just passed away? Just think about it. Now that mom's gone, I'll get dad's inheritance, right? Man, I'm so lucky. Ignoring my trembling rage, my husband cheerfully went on to give the eulogy. After the formalities, he began talking about taking care of his mother. Then, with tears in his eyes, he said, I have devoted myself to caring for my mother for 5 years, but in vain. She has passed away. But I have no regrets. I am proud that I could support my mother until the end. At my husband's eulogy, sobs could be heard from the audience. Perhaps pleased with the reaction, my husband continued to speak indefinitely with a touch of drama as if he had always been a dutiful son. The attendees, oblivious, listened to his story with tears in their eyes. Thank you all for today, he concluded. With his closing words, I stood up. As the room began to stir, I stood before my husband and took out a voice recorder. What are you doing? Ignoring my husband's restraint, I raised my voice to the attendees. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, please listen to this recording. As I pressed the play button, my mother-in-law's voice flowed from the voice recorder. Her voice at that time, recorded in the hospital. Thank you all for attending today. There's something I absolutely want you to hear, so I've left this voice message. My husband and even the attendees were stunned by the unexpected turn of events. I believe you've just heard my son's speech. Probably he was talking as if he had been a dutiful son. The recording continued in my mother-in-law's voice that knew my boastful husband well. She had a good grasp of his likely behavior as a parent. I increased the volume of the voice recorder so that everyone could hear. However, my son did not care for me. He just kept shouting at me and my daughter-in-law, Sarah. Of course, we have audio evidence of him verbally abusing Sarah and me. As my husband's face turned red, he shouted, What is this? Stop this. Ignoring him, I continued to play the recording. Besides, hi son, I was withdrawing my pension from my account without my permission. I'm giving it to another woman, not Sarah. One day, I noticed something odd about my son and had an old friend look into it, and this fact came to light. The attendees were all filled with anger, while my husband turned pale. Finally, my mother-in-law delivered a final blow to my husband from heaven. I have a request for everyone. Please do not give my inheritance to my son. You could donate it, destroy it, whatever. Anyway, I will not forgive my son. I need your help. With those words, the voice ceased. My husband was in a panic, shouting something, but no one was there to help him. On the contrary, all of the attendees were giving him cold stares. Looking down at my husband, I said coldly, Do you understand? This is the result of what you've been doing. You abandoned the care of your mother and were having an affair. You've learned a lot from this, haven't you? Wait, Sarah, I was wrong. So, you are not going to say something stupid like, help me, are you? Let me tell you, I will never forgive you. After tormenting your mother and ridiculing people, there's no one who's going to help you. Suffer in hell. In the midst of the attendees' cold stares, my husband collapsed onto the ground, pale-faced. After that, I divorced my husband. There was no reason for me to be with him now that my mother-in-law had passed away. I later heard that he had been fired from his job. His boss had been at the funeral, so it was a predictable outcome. I demanded alimony from my ex-husband for his mistress. Apparently, his mistress was furious about this and promptly dumped him. A few months later, my ex-husband was able to find a new job through Jackson's introduction, but that was also part of my mother-in-law's plan. My ex-husband was working at a company known to Jackson, and from his salary, he was paying me alimony. Thanks to this, the alimony is paid to me every month without fail. Meanwhile, I started living alone with the money my mother-in-law had left me. Jackson, who was worried about me, even introduced me to a full-time job. All of this was apparently in my mother-in-law's will. I can't thank my mother-in-law enough for everything she's done for me. I said a prayer in front of my mother-in-law's grave and thanked her in my heart. Thank you so much, mother-in-law. I swore to myself that I would cherish this life I was given thanks to my mother-in-law.